Buenas amigos, ¿qué tal? Estamos de regreso and welcome to a new episode of the Lax Hospitality Talks. Finally has arrived the video, maybe the one I was expecting the most, I don't know for you guys, but about the US, about the application, about the job hunting, about lots of things that eventually you need in case you want to do an experience as mine. And sometimes, honestly, I'm receiving lots of messages on LinkedIn on how could I do to come here, because it's really, really tough. After COVID, a disaster. And still, they need position, but regulation, lots of bureaucratic stuff that is not in our hands. So, first of all, why the US? I already told in a video of mine, I think 2 videos ago when I was showing you my Tesina. So it was my dream place since the first year of high school. And I couldn't come because for my parents, I was too young. So I said, if I cannot go on Erasmus, if I cannot go for work, when I'm gonna be there? Like, I can go on holiday. The US is amazing. You can do road trips. You can go to Miami, to New York, to Washington, to Puerto Rico, that still is part of the US. But I wouldn't have enjoyed the same experiences I'm doing now. So it was like, if it's not now, never. So I was in Zurich. I still remember that afternoon. I didn't have like a super tough job. It was doing something that I wanted. Sometimes I had free time. So literally I was just scrolling, lots of jobs. And eventually I wasn't only applying on LinkedIn or on the website of the companies, sorry, but I was also applying through the Glion website, because till the 3rd semester, you are technically a student, so you can do whatever you want on the Glion website. And lots of companies there were offering visas, and eventually, if you were paying the visa with them, they insure you to find you a job in the US. Okay, and I said, I don't know. I'm not an operation person. I'm a marketing person. I apply for many positions in the US, especially Miami, because it's not the dream place. Honestly, I prefer here right now, even if I love Miami, but I consider more like a vacation place. But it was much nearer to the US, to Europe. So it was like, if my parents want to come, if my boyfriend, now I don't have a boyfriend, but if my boyfriend wanted to come, it was much easier. My friends, it's easier to say, just take the plane, direct flight, 8 hours compared to 15 hours with a layover, because Santa Barbara is a small airport in case you don't want to LA, and still it's 2.5 hours from LA. So I said, okay, let's apply. I'm not sure. I can still stay in Switzerland. I had no plans actually about my future, about a place, okay? So if it was in the US, I wasn't sure of applying, because any place for me was good. I was single when I was applying. It was December. I could be in any part of the world with no bonds with Europe. Still, I would love to go back. Also now I would love to enjoy summer there, but I'm enjoying here, so what's the point? Nothing is holding me back. So I decided applying. I had my first interview, not with the hotel, but with the visa provider. And they helped me out to build up a curriculum vitae they didn't care about mine. It could be the best or the worst, but they wanted something with that guidelines. So I filled it up and everything. And during this page, so it was something super funny now that I remember and now that I can tell you guys, they told me they just opened a position in Santa Barbara at the Ritz-Carlton Baccarat. Honestly, at first I was like, no way, I want Miami. Eventually I can do New York or Washington, but nothing on the West Coast. But I said, they offer me, it's gonna be rude if I don't accept. So I accepted. By the way, the company that I'm talking about is Pan Atlantic, for everyone interested. And I also will be tagging it on the social media that I'm doing, because still they're doing a great job in helping the students and the fresh graduates to fulfill their dreams and to come here to the US. So I applied, I think think most of the hotel in Miami never responded me, so I think they didn't care about me at all. Sorry me, but it wasn't neither rejected or accepted, just like the application went out over time. Eventually they found already someone, but I will never know. While I received the answer here in Santa Barbara straight after. So it was like, I was in Doha, in Qatar with my parents. It was the 26th of December. And I received a message telling Ritz-Carlton Baccara is interested in interviewing you. Here, honestly speaking, Pan Atlantic and, first of all, Placement International is so obsessed for us to be the best when we are interviewing. So we're giving you lots of tools, lots of skills. And I was super scared of interview. I began studying everything. I knew by heart lots of things that right now I don't know. So all the rooms, all the type of rooms, all the metrage, you say? I mean, the square meter of the rooms, the feet in this case, the acres, the facilities, whatever, because I was expecting a super, super, super tough interview. But eventually it wasn't that tough. It was more like the Nova style, you know what I'm talking about? So more like situational. So usually like people don't want you to know everything about something because you can just like study and know it. They prefer to know how you react or overreact or underreact to situation. So what would you do in case of? So this is like the question I'm receiving the most, lots of times I'm having interviews. Then the day after I was accepted. Then the big deal. Would I accept the job in the other side of the work or not? My mom and my ex were the first one telling, yeah, you should. Yeah, my ex wasn't my boyfriend at the time, was already my ex and then he became my ex again. This is a really funny story. So it was like, if the people that care about me the most are telling to go because they see that it's the experience, like it's the moment of my life, and eventually I really want to go, but I was afraid, and sometimes like, you know, fear stops lots of things. I was like, yeah, I should go. So I signed a contract. After that, I had to apply for the visa. So I had to pay Placement International to get the visa. And actually the J1 is for 1 year and it's like an exchange student visa. It's both for students and for young professional. They can do a graduate program like I'm doing in rooms for 1 year. And eventually with them, you can reapply, same with the J1, for another year. Now here, I'm not sure if you are still doing a training or you can have either a manager position, because I'm not sure. Or eventually, through them, you can also apply with the H1 visa, which is as the J1. But for example, I know a friend of mine that is an MBA at Santa Barbara University and is an assistant manager after he was using a J1 for 1 year. But in my case, honestly, I already have a master's, so I would love to study again, but not now. So, and eventually not in Santa Barbara, not because I have something against it, but yeah, I love big names. I don't know if you understood it from my other videos. So either I'm doing another master in hospitality, I would do it Cornell for sure. Otherwise, I will get back to Bocconi or Harvard, Yale, you know, but then we're gonna be like more business, while in Bocconi there are really nice masters also linked to hospitality, but not that much. So I would love to do them. So I was in the process. I was selected and to do my best in order to have the visa, because sometimes it takes long, sometimes you're rejected, sometimes for lots of reasons you don't get it. Eventually, the Milan consulate wasn't that full of applications, so I could have my appointment straight after I receive it and everything went smooth. If you're going to the Milanese consulate, you're gonna have lots of queue. Usually they're late. So I remember I had heels, I was running. I don't know if you know where it is, where the Radio Monte Carlo station is. So you can just like in the area of the west end of the Grand Hotel Gallia, so by the central station. So I was parking there, I was super in a rush, I was running, and eventually they were calling 1 hour before me. So it was super funny, but eventually I could make it. Then you're super stressed, that we're making you lots of questions, but you know what, I usually tell you, as long as you're confident, as long as you know what you're talking about, and you know what you're going to do. Because remember a case, someone in front of me was doing like some training. It was really random, the description, and she didn't even know like perfect English. And she was like, are you sure what you're doing? Like, it seems really all over the place. So if you know exactly what you're doing, we're gonna provide you with the visa, okay? And then like clear, confident, know that you're working, know for sure that you're coming back. So American people don't want you in America for more than a year. So you have to tell them, no, 1 year, and then I will come back because I have the friend of the friend in working, I don't know, in Bulgaria that is gonna hire me. No, but still, you have to tell them so they're like more luckily. I mean, they're feeling happier because it's like, we are helping you for 1 year and then you can do whatever you want. So still, for the program I'm doing right now, and then in case I can do a video more in detail of what I'm doing as a front office agent here, it's like a Voyager. So it's like 90% similar to a Voyager, but you don't have the manager skills, and you're not sure of having a manager position in the US after your year. I know that could sound bad, but if you have your contacts everywhere else in the world, you can become a manager anywhere else, and then you can come back after 1 year with a proper visa, like a F1, sorry. Or, as something that I wanted to do right now, I just wanted to apply for the lottery, and if I win the lottery, I win the green card, I will do it. So without really like paying for the visa, because I think sometimes, I mean, I don't want to sound mean, but I'm working, I'm doing the best of that I can. I'm doing also like other social activities somehow. Why cannot stay? Why cannot like in other countries, I keep living in a place, I keep earning a salary, and eventually I can apply for like citizenship. Here is completely different. I know that I can still do that, but I want to be like safe. I don't want to seem like someone that just escaped. No, I want to be clear. So eventually the visa arrived, and I was supposed to leave in March, but I had my birthday, I had like graduation for my ex and other going on. So I arrived here in May, and everything was super smooth. Also the control in Miami was like super, super smooth. So the big question, who are more eligible of coming to the US for work? This is a really tricky question. Because as you know, I'm doing an operational job. I'm doing those kind of jobs, and hotels need tons of people. And almost all the people are the same. And I know that. I knew in advance that this is not something I want to do for life, but I think that it's necessary for you to become the best professional in the hospitality field. I usually say, you can be a great salesperson, you can be a great marketing person. I love doing video, I love social media, everything, But how can I be the best in hospitality if I don't know how to do a check-in? If I don't know how to surprise a guest? If I don't know how to make a bed? Something easy, something stupid somehow, but it's necessary. And sometimes when you're doing certain types of job, you just don't care about doing the basics, but I think it's necessary for you to build up as a person. So usually, like also the Ritz-Carlton, that I think is also the best in order to like expecting and unexpectedness, is the best place to start your career. They usually hire for rooms, culinary, and F&B. So in rooms, you do front office, housekeeping, guest relation. In F&B, you do waiters and waiter. We have 8 outlets, so with like lots of options. And you can be from a server to the runner to the bartender. There are lots of options. And finally, you have the culinary, and you can do both pastry or just like in order to become a chef. So usually they hire you when you have a degree. So it can be either hospitality or not. So in my case it was, so I mean for me it's also like easier now to just like catch up with topics I already been studying or something very interesting about. For some other, they just did something else, but still they want to start a career in the US. And as I told you, the jobs they usually hire the most are these ones. So for example, if you want to be a consultant, if you want to be a banker and you want to come here immediately, no way. I was talking with a person I just met on LinkedIn, and he wanted to come here in Santa Barbara for some personal reasons, and he wanted to work like for BCG or big consultancy firms. And this is super hard because they have to provide that you are better than all the American candidates. And also the same also apply for a friend of mine that is applying for sports management jobs here in the US. It's really hard. So you just have to ensure that you're better. For this type of job that I apply to, you just need to work. But sometimes, you know what? Also, like the other side of the coin, here, everything that you do is super valued. Like, I'm doing something, I get tips if I'm doing the extra mile. If I work more, I'm paid almost the double, you know? So it's like, even if I'm doing something really manual and something that sometimes you don't even like, you have to be super responsible, that's for sure. But sometimes I'm not really applying what I studied for. So like intellectually, I'm not feeling the burden of like, you know, putting mental effort. I just have to be, I have to have soft skills, that's for sure. But it's something that I also getting every time I'm doing videos, you know. I just enjoy when I talk, I just enjoy to be welcoming, so this is another thing. But, you know, I enjoy because everything that I'm doing is rewarded. Something that also in the other side of the world it isn't. Even if the job is not the one I studied like properly from, you know. But still, any other specific topics, and questions you have about this huge topic of job application, just let me know. And yeah, I hope you like today's videos. I will make you part of my life always more. And I will be back with interview as soon as I can, because for now I don't have, and this really disappoints me, but I cannot do anything else. But eventually some news will be released soon, and as well I can begin interviewing people in hospitality but not strictly related to hotel, because some of my guests are really interesting, and usually this type of guests are Italian, so they're providing me business cards. So eventually we are gonna find a guest of mine here on my channel, but this is still a work in process. So stay tuned for mucho más here on Luxury Hospitality Talks.